Welcome to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I'm Gaudet, your fearless host, entrepreneur, investor, and business strategist. Why are we here? Because iron sharpens iron, and when we bring industry leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs to share what's working in business, and maybe even some of what's not, we all learn and grow. As a result, the ripple effect impacts not only ourselves, our teams, and their families, but also our communities and our world. You're in for a treat today. We are going to talk about building a for-purpose business, making an impact while scaling. How can entrepreneurs drive profit and impact with our special guest, Cathy Dimarchos. She is a force of nature, proving that business and social impact don't have to be separate. As founder of Solutions to You, she's built a certified social enterprise that reinvests 50% of its earnings into global initiatives. She's a complete rock star. Welcome to the show, Cathy.
Hi, Jen. Lovely to actually be here. Thank you.
Cathy, I'm so excited to have you here because we in the past have talked about adding social initiatives, adding charitable giving into our products and services, but you've structured your business as a social enterprise. It's a model that a lot of entrepreneurs are hesitant to adopt because of the perceived risk. What inspired you to take this approach? And what would you say to business owners who fear integrating this social component will limit their profitability?
Oh, gosh. I think when I actually started this particular company, because I've been setting up businesses since 1997, there was a particular incident that actually occurred, and it was around ethics and integrity. And I was actually scaling a business, a multinational. And I sat back and thought, what is business really about? And for me, it was the realization of it's about people. It's about making a difference in the world. And so it was ensuring that how could I actually do this and show people that it's possible? So if I start from scratch and actually have that intention in mind, what will happen? And I'm very much a believer of you need to actually do things first before you start talking about right? Whereas lots of people say, I'm going to. So when you actually set out with that sort of intention, you are really specific about what is it that I'm going to do? What does it look like? How will it actually impact those around me? And it's about that communication piece. So everybody that's involved with you understands that that's what we're actually working towards, which then means that who you start to do business with shifts because their mind shifts to actually align with yours. So as you're starting up a business, of course, the priority is actually survival. But for me, it wasn't just survival for me, it was actually survival for whom I'm actually there to serve. And again, that shift actually changes everything. So you have to understand your finances first. There is no, way around that. Financial literacy has got to be at the core of what you do, but it doesn't drive what you do, right?
Yeah, but most entrepreneurs struggle with knowing their finances anyway. Like for some reason, entrepreneurs love everything about the vision, the purpose, the products, the services, and they want to kind of ignore the financials. Like it's like the little thing in the corner that I don't want to pay attention to. So I love that you said that. But talk to me especially about the practical steps once we know our finances, whether we're a startup or we're scaling, to embed that social responsibility into ops.
It comes back to transparency. The minute you actually make a decision to actually be transparent about what it is that you're doing, that then means that you are accountable and that you actually become that showpiece for others. It's when you actually hide, just like what you just shared, most people actually avoid the finance part. If I don't know, then it's okay. But that's actually the worst thing that you could possibly do for yourself. So saying what it is that you're going to do, then actually finding the means to do it. That's the important piece. If you do not understand your finances, you can't possibly then actually create an environment, a space, a vision that actually aligns with your purpose that then actually allows you to facilitate the outcome right? So it's bringing it all together. I always look at, what is the bare minimum? If I actually am starting up a business, of course, I actually need to do, that replacement piece. So if I was an employee, what was I actually earning? You've got to at least aim for that, right?
Right.
So again, being really clear about what do I need? What am I working towards? So if, say, for example, you need to be earning, let's say 5,000, a month, that then means that you have to allow for 5,000 plus your taxes and then double it, which then gives you a really different purpose in the way that you're actually operating and what you think you need to be earning and doing. But then the clarity comes from, what are you going to do with that additional 5,000 that you're going to pay forward? How is that then going to make a greater impact in the world? Understanding that piece and what you need to facilitate then enables you to bring everything together. And once you start down that trip, there's no coming back, because you change the lives of thousands
Well,
just
and
by actually understanding that piece, right?
yep, yep. And I think about like the shift, at least here, the younger and workforce. If you want an engaged workforce, you want your team to be engaged, you want to attract the best talent, especially the younger generation wants to know that they have a greater purpose that they're working for. So, as entrepreneurs, whether we're starting up or we're looking at scale, we have to consider what is the social impact or environmental impact. We have to have some sort of an impact thought process, because that's how we attract top talent. Right now, what we're seeing, at least here in the States, is that people will take a lower salary to work for a company that they believe in the same values. And I'm gonna use an example. Like my daughter's in her late 20s, and so she thinks about, well, what is the impact here? Like, how are we helping other people, before she thinks about even the profitability? And so, how are we going to have that impact both from our business products and services and from our social impact? And it just is something that we can't ignore anymore if we're looking at being successful in business. Can you share a real world example of a business that you worked with successfully that integrated this purpose into its model, and maybe share kind of what that looked like from a scalability? Because a lot of times when we have giving initiatives, people will opt in that maybe were not going to shop with us before, or our products. But talk about like the successful integration of purpose and the impact that it created.
I'll give an example of, a couple of situations. One is that um, I actually work with a business that particularly works with taking youth off the streets. Now, most businesses in that, line of work, they think about it purely from, I have a job to do and that's all that they do. When I first started working with them, first of all, it's a difficult job because most of those kids that are actually on the street are troubled because they've lived, some challenging experiences. And so they're not necessarily going to be open to strangers actually, you know, attempting to work with them. So the traditional model is, let me just do what I need to do, get them off the streets, tick a box, and I facilitate what I need to do. But what they have actually done is they will actually take them off the streets and create an entire ecosystem around them. So they have people with them 24/7 in an environment that is like an actual home. The homes are set up like you and I would actually have a home. The actual modeling, of perhaps what, parents actually do are created as part of it. Everything is thought through with the premise of, I'm not thinking about my bottom line, but I'm actually thinking about how much I can actually invest to create that environment for those youth that perhaps have not actually had, the family life that other kids have experienced. So they take their profit and actually put it back in to create the ecosystem by putting in more people to actually have, the the aunt, the uncle, the cousin, in that environment, and actually build all of those things that families have, which is boundaries, respect. You need to contribute, so they have to contribute as well. That model actually has not only people wanting to work for them, they're prepared to actually go through some of the most challenging situations to still actually work for them. Governments are now recognizing that, oh, this is a model that actually works because we are having less of the youth go back to reoffend or repeat the patterns and go back on the street. That business has grown exponentially, so from a 6 staff business to turning over a couple of 100,000 to turning over millions of dollars within 2 years and over 200 staff.
Wow.
That growth is because it's driven from the heart.
Absolutely. For-purpose business is definitely a trend that is moving forward, and it's engaging the younger population, especially from a workforce standpoint. And not only that, we want to have an impact. Most of us, especially what I find is a lot of people, it's once they find their financial security, then they start looking at this. But really for many, and especially the younger generation, it's how can I find my financial security while I'm having this impact. So for the entrepreneurs watching, if you want to start aligning your business with impact, today you just got a roadmap. Find what that purpose is, find how you're going to incorporate that, and reach out. You can reach out to Cathy. We will be back after these messages with a little bit more. Cathy, I'd love to dive in, so be thinking about it. What's the first action that people can take to really create that for-purpose business? We'll be right back after these messages.